Oh goody, I get to talk about this blue boy again. Hey everyone, it's Nux and welcome back to another Sonic the Hedgehog video. And today, we are going to kick off the first update for Sonic in 2019. Now recently, the series has kind of just fallen into another dry period. There isn't much going on right now besides the usual BS, which is basically arguing about the same old repetitive topics. I mean, I'm not gonna hop on a high horse and say that I haven't been doing that as well. Because yeah, I've definitely been as vocal as ever on what I think about the Sonic series. I'm either doing other things in life, messing around in other communities, or being just as repetitive as any other Sonic fan. But I guess saying that Sonic is completely dry isn't accurate, as if it truly was, I wouldn't even be making this video. But I just still feel unmotivated to talk about the blue blur. So to maybe air out some steam before any real interesting news for me comes along, let's talk about how the series is set to be within 2019, and talk about my personal thoughts about all Sonic has to offer in this year. And while I was hoping that talking about this year could maybe bring some positivity to my Sonic mindset, he really doesn't. The only big new game the series has to look forward to right now is Team Sonic Racing, at least as of now, assuming another new game doesn't get announced later. I've talked about that game a decent bit on YouTube and on Twitter, and to basically summarize, my interest in that game is very little to non-existent. Firstly, most of it is due to its concept and design alone. I know the Sonic being in a car thing has been a common debate and joke for the longest now, but it just really doesn't feel right for a direct Sonic spin-off. Yes, I get it. Sonic is realistically faster than anyone else. But since when has Sega or Sonic Team gave a single damn about logic and continuity in this series? I mean, they did at one point, kind of, but they clearly do not now more than ever. So all these points as to why Sonic has to be in a car just sounds more like stupid excuses. And I know he was in one for the Sega racing games, but that was different due to it being a big crossover game. In the Sonic series itself, I expect more charm and uniqueness when it comes to Sonic's take on a different genre for a spin-off, and in a good way. Like honestly, I would have taken something like a new Sonic Riders. Sonic Riders was so much more unique and had a lot of flair and style into it. I get that the whole extreme radical skateboard thing is dated, but that shouldn't be a reason to leave the sub-series to die. Even if Sonic Free Riders was an absolute dumpster fire of a game, I honestly would have preferred just a proper new Sonic Riders. One that fixes the issues of the previous installments and tries a new exciting mechanic than just bandwagoning on a gimmick like motion controls. Or better yet, I would have loved for them to attempt a proper successor to Sonic R. Sonic R was definitely not the best racing game, due to its wonky controls and some other flaws, but it still had a lot of potential. The openness of the fields you race in, the characters traversing racetracks in such different ways, the unfitting but soulful music, all of that made the game all the more worth it to play, despite its big flaws. With Team Sonic Racing, it feels like Sonic trying his hardest to be more like Mario Kart, with a lot of elements of the modern era I don't like slapped in there. For example, Wisp. Literally, why are these things still around? No one likes any of them anymore. I swear, the clear bias towards these things is just annoying, and it's not the only dumb thing about the modern era that refuses to die and is sticking around in this game, as it's going to relate to something we'll talk about in a bit. But on that subject, I guess we might as well dive into one of the areas of Team Sonic Racing, being the roster for the game. Now, at first glance, it seems okay, I guess. It's pretty diverse, and there's no clones like Mother Freaking Classic Sonic, thank God. But the choices are pretty safe and the team layouts just make no sense. So here we have Team Sonic, cool. Team Dark, cool. But where the hell is the Chaotix? Why is Vector partnered with Blaze and Silver? That literally makes no sense. It's just as illogical as when he was on Team Rose in Free Riders. Why do they keep slapping Vector on these random teams when he has two partners right there? His dynamic with his partners was always one of the best elements of him, and now they just throw him around wherever, and it just doesn't work due to how badly he clashes with other teams. Also, Team Rose is here, but Cream is just MIA. And in her place are Chow? Honestly, I'm surprised they even remembered the Chow existed. But why are the Chow a whole character slot? Why not just put in Cream, who literally has a Chow of her own? I see some people say that this is due to how racing is dangerous, and Cream should be left out. Kind of like how she was left out of Forces due to war. But she literally was in the Riders games, risking her life in dangerous terrain on a flimsy airboard. How is that not any more dangerous? Also, we're not going to talk about how this is just as dangerous for the cutesy Chow as well. But anyway, I guess that just leaves one team left. And it's Team Eggman? Well, let's see. It's Eggman, Metal Sonic, and Zavok. Zavok? They really are still putting the Deadly Six in these games? Why? Zavok is literally a poor man Bowser, and that's an insult to our great Koopa King. Like, was there no other villain to throw in? Chaos and Egg Robo? What about Infinite? That new villain who was just in Sonic Forces. You really just forgot about him that fast already? Man, between Forces not getting that DLC, and now this, Infinite really just gonna be one of those one-shot characters, huh? Here lies Infinite. He was the tallest of mountains. He was the roughest of waves. You were the most disappointing Sonic villain ever, and had so much wasted potential. But you were still more memorable than the freaking Deadly Six. But yeah, so that's it. No crazy new characters like maybe Mighty, Bean, Fang, or something. No off-the-wall characters like, I don't know, freaking Merlena from Sonic and the Black Knight. No Babylon Rogues, nothing? Man, what a safe and dull roster. And that just plays into why I don't care much for this game. And yeah, I know DLC could come down the road and add something better to the roster or whatever, but it still doesn't really change my mind much. Oh yeah, also the story is probably going to be just as bad, if not even worse than the one in Sonic Free Riders. I guess the music at least has some effort into it this time, bringing back Crush 40 and bringing in T. Lopes, some actual good musicians for once. Then again, Hyper Potions is still around. But yeah, also, even the racetracks feel safe and dull. They're based on existing levels, which isn't entirely bad, but man, did they choose some of the lamest themes possible for some of these tracks. Like, some of them are just courses we still see way too often. There's nothing that really enchants me to go and pick up the game immediately. These are some pretty basic racetracks. Not to mention, some of them definitely don't look as great as racetracks in other racing games. So again, there is nothing really here that is impressing me. Team Sonic Racing just doesn't look all that good to me. I'm better just playing some other more quality racing game like Sega All-Stars Transformed or something. But as usual, since the game isn't out yet, I have to put my judgments aside and say maybe I could be wrong. But Sega proving me wrong in a game's quality decrease, that'll be the day. So besides Team Sonic Racing, the other big element we have to look forward to is the Sonic movie. And recently we got the official reveal of what he looks like in the movie, thanks to the magic of leaks. And yeah, I have a lot to say about this final design. Like, it's not a complete abomination as I was expecting, but it is easily the worst Sonic design thus far, surpassing even Boom Sonic, as the ugliest and most disgusting official design ever conceived for this character. And it's even crazier seeing some of the movie renders borrow poses from the games, as if this is the Sonic we know and love. It's even crazier when you consider that they have a toy with the movie branding featuring the actual Sonic we know, and they still freaking thought that design was okay. And y'all want to know the craziest part? There are actually Sonic fanboys defending this. How can you defend this? I'm absolutely speechless. Like, do I even have to sit here and explain what's wrong with this design? Simply look at him. Like, his legs are freaking human-like and look absolutely stupid on this cartoony looking hedgehog. His eyes, while I'm not too upset with how his eyes are, they just make Sonic, not look like Sonic. It's not the Sonic we know and love. He just looks so bizarre. And then look at his hands. Look at his hands. His hands are just white. They're not gloves. He's not wearing gloves. His hands are just white for no reason. That makes literal no sense, but he's a cartoon character, I guess, so it can work, even though it makes no sense. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get how fans can support literally anything this franchise does. Like, I get it. Sonic is a good franchise. It's done good things before. I'm not one of those people who will ever say Sonic the Hedgehog was never good. He's never had any kind of potential at all. But stuff like this is where you really got to put your foot down and actually have some mindset of your own to critique Sega. Because when you don't, this is what happens. This is what happens. And I know a lot of people are making comparisons to Detective Pikachu as well. Well, the difference between this and Detective Pikachu is that Detective Pikachu's designs at least kind of resemble the Pokemon. Most of them do, especially Pikachu. Pikachu looks almost one-to-one with his game and anime counterpart. He just has a, more realistic fur, and the texture is just a little more realistic. And other than that, it's still the Pikachu we know and love. In this case, Sonic just does not look right. And you want to know the reason? The reason is that trying to make Sonic realistic just doesn't work. He's an anthropomorphic blue hedgehog. And if you try to do that outside of the cartoony style, it's just not gonna look right, no matter how hard you try. You either have to, try and make Sonic look cartoony like he is in the games, and try to stick that in live action, no matter how bizarre it looks, or what you should have done from the start, do a freaking animated movie. Like, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I guess while I'm ranting on this movie thing, I might as well call out some other elements about it I don't like. Another thing I don't like about this movie is that they're trying to now come up with this stupid mentality that, we're going to divide Sonic into brands. We're going to have classic Sonic, we're going to have modern Sonic, we're going to have movie Sonic, we're going to have maybe an animation Sonic for a new Sonic cartoon. And it's like, God damn it, Sega, have you learned absolutely nothing about dividing this franchise into pieces? Have you learned nothing in like the past 20 or so years? Like, please, for my sanity's sake, stop dividing this character more than he already has done to himself in the past 20 years. Sonic the Hedgehog is just Sonic. And I'm not even going to repeat myself because I've said this shit in so many other videos that it shouldn't even warrant repeating. Another thing I don't like when it comes to people's response to this movie is using this movie to say stupid shit. Like, for example, people using this movie to say, modern Sonic is at it again. That means, we gotta make the brand fully classic Sonic. Classic Sonic should be the face of Sonic the Hedgehog. Forget the past 20 or so years of history, throw it all away just so that Sonic can run in Green Hill Zone for however more long they want to reuse it. And another thing that bothers me is people who use this to brag on the brand, to use this to say, oh, well, this is totally what Sonic deserves. Sonic fans don't deserve good Sonic stuff. And that's bullshit. Like, I've seen some people say in their videos that this is a good thing. This is what Sonic deserves. And I truly do not believe that. Like, as someone who likes Sonic the Hedgehog and doesn't want to see it torn apart by people, seeing people tear it apart, be it dividing it into pieces, hating a single part of it just because you want to relive the nostalgia of the old days, and the actual outsiders, just between all these factors, this is what tears the brand apart. And this is why I have a huge disgust for this movie and just what it's doing to the franchise. And in conclusion, I guess, I already know the movie's gonna be horrible. Is it going to do well? I know I said it was going to flop guaranteed in some previous videos, but who knows? Maybe some kids will actually drag their parents to go see this crap, and it'll like make at least its budget back or something, and that'll be enough for them to say, oh, let's make a sequel or something, which, please God, no. Don't do that to me, please. Like, you've already seen how my sanity has snapped in half throughout this video. Don't hurt me more than you've already have, please. I think it's best we move on. So really, that just leaves two tiny fields left. The current Sonic comics with IDW, and more nostalgia. Now, the comics is kind of an elephant in the room. As you all have noticed, I haven't said much on those. Yeah, I don't like them. They have the same feel as the comics did just before Archie went under. And as some of you may know, I thought the comics took a nosedive in quality in those last few arcs. So yeah, to see the storytelling still weak just means it ain't for me. Also, how is the comics loosely based on Forces and Infinite is nowhere to be seen? Man, this character really did get shafted, huh? So yeah, that's the current status of the series. So what do I think? Yeah, I hate it. The upcoming games aren't all that exciting and show no promise to improve all the issues I've had with the series over the years. The comics feel borderline fanfiction tier at times, and just as bad as the last few arcs before the Archie switchover. And you all know I'm completely tired of classic Sonic being everywhere in place of the Sonic we grew to know for more than a decade. And also we got what I'm assuming to be a disaster of a Sonic movie coming up. Yeah, 2019 ain't it for me, Chief. I'm gonna get flamed hard for my thoughts here, but I honestly don't even have the energy to debate a whole bunch. Especially because it involved repeating the same points over and over again. 2019 looks to be a down year for Sonic, filled with a lot of mediocrity and garbage. Very similar to previous years. Literally all I can do is pray that the rearranging with Sega and Sammy is changing around the people who handle this series so that maybe some big change can come. But besides that, what else can I say that I haven't already said? Yes, guys, I do indeed care about Sonic the Hedgehog. I want to see it get better, and I don't want it to fail. Yada 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 stuff I've said over the past, decade or so that I've been making videos. How old is this channel again? Well, anyway, speaking of the channel, that's pretty much all I have for today. And I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. And what I really want to see is a comment letting me know what your thoughts are on the topics that I discussed today. But otherwise, yeah, if you want to see more of my antics, then subscribe. This has been Nux, and I'm out. Peace, guys.